Good evening. You're listening to Adrenaline Radio, 1680 AM on your dial. I'm Fred Blanchard, host of Adrenaline Motorsports. Our program is from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Friday. And we have in-studio guests this evening, Ben York from Roseville Rod and Custom. One of the things I also found in dealing with Roseville Rod and Custom is that once you take on a project, you follow it all the way through. And I noticed that when you were dealing with custom engines that nobody has, in dealing with the electronics part of it, such as fuel injection and things of that kind. You just would not let it go. And you try to share with a customer that it needs to be this or it needs to be that. But tell me a little bit about that. I know that you've gone into some pretty exotic pieces. I know, like in Matt's car, it had I guess fuel injection in that, and it was I think it was port injectors in that motor at one time. Was that not correct?
Yeah, it's a stacked system. It's Imagine Injection at Arizona, and what a lot of people don't understand is with fuel injection, there's a lot of companies out there producing all of the pieces and the software and controls that go along with it. But to get it perfect in a car takes hours and hours and hours of a tuner driving the car, riding in the car, adjusting. Injection's nice, but you've got to spend the time to make it right. You know, car companies spend millions of dollars in research to get a car to start up and drive and be perfect electronic-wise. And you've got to, put as much time in. The more hours that are put in with a tuner, the better that car is going to run.
Well, I saw another, basically a like project with a supercharger on it. It had what's known in the industry for hot rodders anyway as a fast XFI system on there. And I know that you've had your go-around with some of that, so why don't you shed a little light on your experiences with some of that type of stuff?
You got to find a system and a tuner that works with that system if you want it to come out with as little hiccups as possible. You start mismatching parts and guys that can tune it, and it really throws a wrench in it. They want, the computer that they know in the car, the harness that they've built or they know in the car. And, a lot of times you start piecing together injection parts and engine parts for a look. Everybody comes in and they want their engine to look a specific way. It's very important that they have it their way. And to do that, sometimes you got to, jump through hoops trying to get them tuned.
One of the other things that I picked up while I was there was your paint department. And I got to tell you, I knew absolutely nothing about paint before I brought the Lakester up there for paint and changes that we were going to make with the car, such as sheet metal and what have you. And why don't you guide us a little bit through the paint process? Because I know that because of the air quality management and air resources, the painting of vehicles are totally different today than what it used to be. And we'll start from the early stages of the paint and bring us through to what is being used today and what you have to have as far as a facility, as far as equipment, and the knowledge of these people. Why don't you give us a little insight on the paint side of this business?
Yeah, the state has really been cracking down, and they're very stringent on what kind of chemicals you're putting, in the trash can, in the air, on the floor. We just switched to water-based base colors. It seems to be working all right so far. The colors, I believe, are a little cleaner. We start off, we've got a 3,500 square foot body shop with a spray booth for priming. And that's where we take the cars all the way down to metal, either have them sandblasted or sand them down, seal them, start up with the body work, making sure that, nobody can touch a car with a bare hand. Nothing can be sprayed in that body shop that has anything to do with silicones or oils or anything because it'll destroy a paint job. And when we get through all of the dusty sanding and Bondo and priming and all of that in the back shop, we bring them up to the front where we've got a downdraft heated spray booth where we can spray them and bake them and make them come out looking good.
Well, let me ask you about this. Now, is it just the custom paints that you have to go through all this with, or is it just general car paints in general? Basically, like, for example, you have an old 2002 Mercury Marquis or something like that. Now, it has paint on it. It's very basic paint. So is it the process is still the same in something like that?
Yeah, the process is still the same. The regulations are still the same. The kind of paints are the same. The custom paint jobs, if you get into a candy or a tri-coat, you've got extra steps in the painting process, and you start to get into having to really watch your matching of the colors, the tiger striping of the paint, because any little thing shows in the paint job.
One of the things I also noticed that you got a lot of skilled help at the shop and guys that know all types of equipment. Where did you find these fellas? I mean, how do they find you, or how does that work out?
Pretty much they find me.
Well, what kind of credentials does the guy have to bring to you on paper for you to really consider him? What is it you look for? Does he bring any documentation? I know that wasn't the way you started, but of course, what do you look for today?
I look for somebody that has had experience in it, a love for it their whole life, and it doesn't come down to what they have on paper. It comes down, and a lot of times you can tell when you're talking to them. You know, if they've had the experiences that have taught them how to do it, you'll know it right off.
The details that you've added to our vehicle, the ones that we're going to run here at Bonneville Speed Week, is just phenomenal in my book. It's just the work was excellent, and I appreciate very much that you've allowed me there to be in your shop and kind of be nosy and just snoop around in your place and look at stuff. And I just couldn't get over not only the people, it's just the fact that you have to inventory so much. And you probably have more tools than the Snap-on tool truck has, because all I say is just a whole array of Snap-on toolboxes throughout the shop, and specialty tools for just every imaginable thing that you might need. And then that to me is an amazing with tools that helps you speed the jobs up and get them done correctly without having to go look around for something special. And there's nothing there that's back in the term we used to call back in the day was hatchet work. I mean, just bang it together and make it happen. And we're not finding that there in your place. Everything has a place. Everything has a tool. Just your library on various parts and pieces and sources of where you can find this or where you can find that. And the fact that there's people there that know where to go to, where to call, to get the part here in time and take care of the customer's job. And that to me is also very impressive. But if anybody's interested in quality work on a project of any kind, and I'm talking about not just the early model cars, but if anybody's looking to have anything like that done, you ought to give Roseville Rod and Custom a call and ask for Ben York or Mike Morales. He'll help you along the way. And I know you're out there, and if you're stuck in the middle of a project, the big deal is to give them a call and at least get some advice. And but if you want quality work done, I can attest to that kind of work because it shows in our Bonneville project. And I'm very thankful that I was able to find somebody like Ben who is willing to get involved with what I'm doing here is for the love of land speed racing and his desire to want to be involved with the same project. And we've hooked up and done that together, and we're going to do it again here come August the 14th.